Not only is it the birthplace of humanity, but it's also possibly the most diversified region on the Earth, ranging from lush greenery in the south to unending desert in the north. Human roots go deeper in Africa than anywhere else on the Earth, making it a goldmine for archaeologists. For you, this is an excellent study with excellent substance. The Sahara Desert, which spans 9 million square kilometers, almost 3.5 million miles, and spans many nations, has a long history of stunning archaeologists. There are some surprising findings in this desert that might be a devastating discovery for civilization. Welcome to Cosmos Observer, where nothing goes unobserved in the universe. Africa is the world's second largest continent and the world's second most populated continent after Asia. It spans 6% of the Earth's total surface area and 20% of its land area, with a total size of 30.3 million square kilometers or 11.7 million square miles, including nearby islands. It is home to roughly 16% of the world's population with 1.3 billion people. Africa has the youngest population of all the continents. The Mediterranean Sea to the north, the Suez Canal and the Red Sea to the northeast, the Indian Ocean to the southeast and the Atlantic Ocean to the west encircle the continent. Africa also holds the world's largest desert, the Sahara Desert, which holds many secrets and mysteries that can change the entire course of our human race. The Sahara Desert occupies a third of the continent. It's approximately the size of the United States, excluding Alaska and Hawaii, and can swallow the country of Spain 18 times. Let's have a look at some maps. On the west side of the desert, we have the Atlantic Ocean. On the east, we have the Red Sea and the Mediterranean to the north. And we have the Sahel Savanna to the south. Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Western Sahara, Sudan, and Tunisia are all known for their dune fields reaching about 600 feet or 183 meters in height. This is almost the same height as the towers of New York's Billionaire's Row. These dunes cover only around 15% of the desert. Mountains, plateaus, sand and gravel plains, salt flat basins, and depressions are some of the other topographical characteristics. Sounds like a barren location, yet believe it or not, this wasteland was once a tropical paradise with lush flora and foliage, as well as an ocean teeming with gorgeous wildlife. So, what went wrong? What happened wrong for us to go from a thriving ecosystem to a dead wasteland? The solution takes us thousands of years back in time. The Sahara, has always experienced periods of high humidity and aridity. Slight wobbles cause these fluctuations in the tilt of the Earth's orbital axis, which changes the angle at which solar radiation penetrates the atmosphere. In layman's terms, the Earth's atmosphere has experienced an onslaught of warming and cooling before succumbing to the intense solar radiation at repeated intervals. During the West African monsoon season, more energy from the sun is poured in than at any other time in Earth's history. During these periods, known as African humid periods, substantially more rain falls throughout North Africa, resulting in increased vegetation, rivers, and lakes. Although something happened between 8,000 and 4,500 years ago, the switch from humid to dry occurred far more quickly in other locations. This abrupt and rapid shift could hardly be explained only by orbital precession. So what caused the Sahara Desert to form? Enter David Wright, an environmental archaeologist. During his research, he discovered what appeared to be a pattern between ancient shepherds and changes in the region's plant diversity. It seemed as though humans and their goats and calves had left a trail of shrub and desert in their wake as they hopped over the grassland. This trend has prompted David Wright to believe that overgrazing of grass is what caused the Sahara Desert to appear. The quantity of vegetation in a region is directly proportional to the amount of atmospheric moisture that creates clouds and albedo. This, according to Wright, may have precipitated the end of the humid era more quickly than the orbital shifts could explain. These nomadic nomads may have also utilized fires to govern their land. This would have accelerated the rate at which the desert spread. When it comes to hot and dry regions, the smaller the better. Large mammals don't do well in the heat, thus I'm not sure why whale skeletons have been discovered in the Sahara Desert. Yes, whales in the desert. While they may not have been prancing in the desert, evidence suggests that the contemporary whale's relatives previously swam in the same area as the scorching African desert. In 1902, a group of geologists led their camels into a region in the western desert of Egypt. Strong winds had carved sandstone rocks into odd patterns over centuries, and the moonlight on a neighboring hill known as the Mountain of Hell made the sand sparkle gold at night. Whale bones were found there. What might a mountain noted for its scorching heat have come in common with whales? The skeletons ranged in length from 50 feet to 50 feet, with vertebrae as thick as logs. We may not have understood it at the time, but the bones date back 37 million years to a time when the desert in northern Egypt were covered by a shallow tropical sea. These overlooked specimens contain the answers to one of evolution's most perplexing questions: how did whales become whales? For a long time, scientists have assumed that whales were formerly terrestrial animals that migrated to the ocean over millions of years. The same can be said for other aquatic species. Of course, the whale is the most extreme illustration of what evolution may do. Nonetheless, the transformation appears to be far too massive and amazing to be logical. Where did their legs and arms go? What caused them to become so large? One inquiry leads to the next. First and foremost, the present-day whale is proof of whale evolution. Even modern whales contain vestigial hind limb bones. However, there is little evidence of the transition from point A to point B in the fossil record. This is until paleontologists discovered hundreds of whale fossils in Wadi al-Hitan, also known as the Whale Valley. Among the remains, they discovered both legs and knees. More footed whales have been discovered after their discovery, but none have been as well preserved or plentiful as the whales of Wadi al-Hitan. The Basilosaurus, a behemoth with an almost eel-like form, and the Dorudon, a smaller but more muscular beast, were both portrayed by fossils found in the valley. The Dorudon was the closest to a present-day whale of the two. The Dorudon, on the other hand, possessed large sharp teeth as opposed to the peg-like teeth of present-day whales. Paleontologists believe the whale's land-loving forebears were originally scavengers like deer or pigs living near the water 55 million years ago. They most likely began spending more time in the water, eating dead fish near the beach and then chasing prey in the shallows before finally venturing deeper. As they did, some of them developed features that aided in water hunting. They became bigger over time as they no longer had to bear their whole body weight at sea, and their backbones and rib cages began to expand. The most bizarre aspect of it all is that discovering whale skeletons in the desert is not unheard of. In the heart of Chile's Atacama Desert, more than 75 whale fossils have been discovered, although how they got there has been a source of controversy among experts. The next discovery made in the Sahara Desert may entice you to pack your belongings and travel there to witness it for yourself. I'm sure you've all heard about Atlantis, the famous lost city. The following finding has something to do with this long-lost enigmatic city. The metropolis, described as one of humanity's first and most complex civilizations, vanished completely from the Earth's surface, leaving no trace. For millennia, though, scientists have been debating whether Atlantis ever existed. However, a recent find might be the final piece of the puzzle in locating the long-lost kingdom. You can't discuss the origins of Atlantis without including Plato, one of history's greatest figures. The narrative was initially described in two of Plato's dialogues, the Timaeus and the Critias, which were published around 360 BC. Plato wrote about the enigmatic undersea realm in the Timaeus and the Critias for the ocean there wasn't that time navigable. For in front of the mouth, which you Greeks call, as you say, the Pillars of Heracles, there lay an island larger than Libya and Asia together. It was possible for the travelers of that time to cross from it to the other islands, and from the islands to the whole of the continent over against them, which encompasses that veritable ocean. Returning to the present, the story begins with the Eye of the Sahara, also known as the Richat structure or Welber-Richat, which is a geological structure in the Sahara Desert. It looks like a huge bullseye and spans a 40-kilometer swath of Mauritania's desert. It was originally thought to be an impact crater, but subsequent research revealed that the whole edifice was made of earth. This indicates that the formation is either natural or man-made. The structure, on the other hand, is very similar to Atlantis, the ringed city described by Plato in two dialogues. Geographically, the Eye of the Sahara displays indications of old rivers flowing down from the mountains, which meet Plato's description. As to answer what happened to the city, it is said that the whole city sank beneath the waves in a single night of misfortune. Well, scientific studies show that the Earth underwent major climatic changes around 11,500 years ago and concluded what appears to be the aftermath of a tsunami unlike anything witnessed by anybody alive today. Of course, nothing about Atlantis can be proved until we uncover its actual remains. But isn't it fun to imagine that stories exist and believe in ancient mysteries? Let me know in the comments section whether Atlantis is real or just a myth.